So got the call from Jason Mook about working on this motor. He sent me a package. It was a crate to ship the motor. I've shipped the motor now to Mook, and I'm now in tow following the motor. It's freezing cold. I'm used to being here for the rally, and I'll tell you, it's really motivating me to be out here because we've got a drop dead date of having this bike done by the rally. So we're in Rapid, headed our way to Deadwood. We're gonna build a motor with Jason Mook. Honored to be with the guy, but also it's a little bit of a real world experience being here near the Sturgis Rally, knowing the bike's got to be ready for the rally and I'm nowhere near. We're actually just starting on a motor. Deadwood Custom Cycles made it. It's time to build a motor. Let's build a motor. Dude, you're a sight for sore eyes.
What's up, buddy?
Man, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you.
And it's nice to be in your shop when it's not crazy, rally, busy. Get in here and bring it in, big boy.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me out here.
You're dressed like you're going to a fraternity party or frat.
Well, listen, I heard the storm last night.
It was terrible.
So I'm like, okay, dress warm.
Yeah.
So I put on a sweatshirt, had to go through the airport and all that crap. So I just put on something comfortable to come in.
Well, you're not going to work like that. I suppose.
Well, why not?
Well, because you look like you should be roping a cow.
That's what I like to do.
I know, but we're building motors, or at least we're tearing one apart.
You promised me a good time of building a motor. And speaking of a motor, that looks familiar. Oh,
if you're going to be in the shop, you got to look the part.
Oh, so I'm a part of the shop now, huh?
You always have been.
There we go. All right. So I made it here to South Dakota at Deadwood Customs, and of course I had to put on the Deadwood Custom shirt to make it official. All the guys here are always repping the brand and working hard. The goal here is, I've been chasing this motor, so I've shipped the motor here to Jason. The goal is to tear it down. We're gonna take this motor, get it up on a jack and stand, I guess is what they call it, and tear it all the way down. So gonna get it torn down and assess where it's at. I don't know if we're gonna take it and improve upon it and go to the next level with this motor, or just get it restored and back to where it should be so that it can go down the road. That's why I'm here. He's the expert, gonna spend time with him. Got the shirt on him official. Now it's time to get going and start working on the motor. That box looks familiar.
This one, it's been sitting here waiting for you. Matter of fact, every once in a while, if it's dead quiet in the shop, you can hear, Lionel, Lionel. So we've just been patiently waiting. We're ready.
I've been chasing the motor, trying to get back here to it. I was afraid that you were gonna get into it and just start tinkering and getting the job done right.
I was itching. I'm not gonna lie, I was itching.
Because see, I'm scared to death because I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh.
But I was like, it's a 50-50 shot. I'm gonna show up and you're gonna have it like, here, look, it's almost ready. You had no say in it, or here, look, it's in the box, we haven't touched it.
No, I told you, I gave you my word, and you know what? It's just a big air pump. Nothing to be worried about. Yeah. This thing's just nothing to it.
Says the guy, how many motors do you build a year?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I ran out of fingers.
Tell me it's an air pump.
No big deal. Nothing to it. Well, let's get it out, or at least get it back to the bench. We're ready. We got a bench cleared off with your name on it.
Get out of the way. Here, hold my fancy new shirt. No, because see, like I learned this the other way. When I brought this to you, I learned it's only 51 pounds. 150.
151 pounds.
But I got to do some work, right?
It's your motor.
So when I drop it.
Knock anything over, yeah.
Am I going here?
Right here.
Better go here because I'm losing it.
Oh, look at that, safe and sound.
Do you know how nerve-wracking it is to pack a motor away?
It is a little rough looking. We should get it on the ground. There we go. It really doesn't look like any issue at all.
Well, I'm scared because this bike's been parked for a long time, and I have no idea what it's gonna look like internally.
It definitely needs some love. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Oh yeah.
Listen, it wasn't that dirty when I put it in there. It's sumped out.
What the hell? All right, so all we're gonna do is we're just gonna get this up onto the stand. Kind of like that, yeah. I think it's got potential.
I think it looks like a polished turd right now.
I think it's got potential. No, it's not bad. It's okay. So we're gonna just secure it right there. We're going to not reuse any of our hardware, right, for mounting.
Oh, yeah.
We're not gonna reuse case bolts. We're not gonna reuse head bolts. We're not gonna reuse any of that crap.
Yeah, you just can't trust it, right?
Yeah. Now this is an 85?
88.
88, okay, good. So they're all what we call bottom breathers. It wasn't until 1992 that they changed the technology and did top breathers. You know what I mean, head breathers. Yep. This basically has the same kind of, crankcase vent breathing system that a shovel head does. And that's typical of Harley Davidson. Need some help with that?
Well, if you give me the right size, no?
A little bit of history about it. Obviously, a lot of people credit the EVO motor for ultimately saving Harley Davidson, right? So the board bought the company back, and I don't know all the wicked details, but the board bought the company back in 1982. The Eagle soars alone, right? Got it from AMF, and people say the Softail, the hidden shock bike that looks like a rigid, where basically where function follows form, and then the Evolution motor ultimately saved Harley Davidson from an untimely, death, because the shovel heads were just, and AMF didn't really care, right? They were just cranking them out. Like, how many units can we put out? And the neat thing about the EVO, I'd call it my favorite in a lot of ways. I'm a big shovel head guy, but you can't really be a performance guy and a shovel head guy, I think. It's kind of an oxymoron.
There's a ceiling there.
Yeah,
ceiling
yeah.
there.
But the thing with an EVO is that there were so many amazing changes to this that ultimately, gave the name credit or merit as far as the evolution of the American V-twin motor. The fact that now you have aluminum cylinders with a ductile iron sleeve in them, and that was a big problem with shovel heads is, you had the cast iron cylinders and the aluminum heads, and that heats up at different temperature, different rate, or the temperature increases at a different rate. Well, with this, where we squish the cylinders down in between the heads and the case, that changed or cured all that. It does have some Achilles heels if you compare it to a twin cam. Twin cam covers, like the cam cover and the lifter block covers and the rocker box covers, are all for doing two things: keeping oil in and dirt out. But with an EVO, those covers are load bearing, right? So the cam cover actually supports the outer part of the camshaft. It's got a bushing and a seal and everything that supports that. Whereas if you go to take off a cam cover off a twin cam, the cover just comes off. The cams and everything are supported internally. I firmly believe that had this not happened, we wouldn't be riding Harleys like we are today. So there's something to be said. This motor's got history for you, but it also has history for the whole, American V-twin culture. If you think about it. I'm super excited. And we're gonna do things along the way so that we're not going backwards. Ideally, with a job like this, we wanna front load it so that when we're doing assembly, it's nice and smooth. So we have everything ready to go. And that's really kind of the big thing there. So we're gonna start by, we're gonna remove air cleaner, carburetor, intake manifold. I'm gonna show you a couple little tricks for that. And then we're gonna see where we're at with our the position of the motor. Some guys will just tear it down. I won't do that. I do it where that particular cylinder head and cylinder we're working on, the piston's at top dead center of the compression stroke. Okay. Right? So 4-stroke motor, right? Yep. Intake, compression, power, exhaust.
So what's this for? This filter down here dangling from the carburetor.
That is,
Is it just another breather?
it's kind of weird that it's in there. Normally, when you have a head breather, when you have a top breather, your piston rings seal up the piston in the cylinder, right? And everybody thinks about the air and fuel that's in the combustion chamber, but they don't think about the air that's underneath the piston as well. Okay. So there's air underneath the piston inside. That's got to go somewhere, right? So it gets pushed up, and what happens with top breathers, that oily air is supposed to separate. The oil is supposed to drain back down, and that air is supposed to work its way through into your intake, right? But these aren't breather holes. These are strictly just holes to support your air cleaner. So I'm not even really sure why we have this here. It's really not.
Because see, I look at it and I go, who put the ugly piece of crap in front of a beautiful motor?
Right. I mean, I don't know what they were thinking.
And I didn't know if there was some reason behind it that I didn't know.
This is it's not really it's not really necessary. Yes, it's meant to if there was oil coming in, but your your venturi right there, that's what equalizes the pressure. You've got that. So this, we're just gonna plug this off with an NPT plug when it's all said and done. Yeah. Now what you might do in the future, okay, is don't take that one out all the way.
Okay.
Because if you go to bust the bottom one loose, you'll rotate the whole thing, right?
Oh, all
if
right.
I wasn't holding it.
Gotcha.
So you just keep this one loose.
Okay. I'll tell you, I don't like the fact of how loose some of these bolts are.
I was thinking it, I just wasn't saying it.
I'm gonna say it.
It's funny because sometimes you get some motors in here that people have had their hands on, and they will take their intake manifold and they'll polish it on the inside, right? Oh, it's so, it's for performance, right? It's so nice because it's so smooth. Think about what you're trying to do. When the fuel and air comes through this intake manifold, what do you want it to do? You want it to mix.
Yes.
Right? You want it to tumble. You want that air to become fuely air. Well, if it's smooth, it's not gonna tumble, it's not gonna rotate, it's not gonna mix, right? So actually going in here and sanding or polishing in your intake manifold is actually gonna rob you of performance. This is actually a very specific bolt, believe it or not, because you have a unique size heavy washer. Those are specific because you have a sealing washer, a felt washer, and a copper washer that if the motor was rebuilt, that's what would be on it. But that washer is actually a very specific washer. It's a little bit thicker and it's an exact diameter. Those original cork gaskets. Early EVOs, if you go and try to stick the rubber updated new gaskets in it, it'll freaking leak. You put the cork ones back in it, no issue. Yeah, I know it's crazy, but that's a cork gasket. That's 1930s technology right there.
That's amazing, because I knew they were cork, right? But I've never been into a motor before to actually see what they look like. But to see that I'm able to spoon it out and it still holds its shape, still holds its form, and
it's about half the thickness of what it was when it started.
there's probably some poor suckers out there who've rebuilt their own bike and be like, oh, look, that looks good still. Let's just put her back.
The way we would know that a piston is at top dead center of the compression stroke is that means that the lifter or tappet would be on the base of the lobe of the camshaft. Again, as a good practice, as a good guide, now we're going to get it at top dead center of the compression stroke for which cylinder that we're going to take. You're just going to go right in here, okay?
And you should feel the piston.
You're going to feel the piston, and we're going to keep going the same direction that we were going. We're going to bring it up.
Okay.
Oh, see that? Yeah. Bringing it up. Keep going. Oh, now you're starting to come back down. There we go. Everybody also, a lot of people think with head bolts, go till they squeak and go a quarter turn more, and that's actually not the case.
Look at that one.
That's a little scary.
That was just effortlessly.
Oh, there we go. He's kidding. When you took that out, you took the entire cylinder stud out. We're going to replace these anyway. Is that now when we put them in, we put the shoulder end down. Now, what I was worried about is we were going to have to bust these things off, kind of like we did the rocker box.
Well, that one just wiggled right off.
Yeah, nothing to it. Looks like a stock gasket, because there's our locator O-ring, which we will not be using that same kind of gasket. But you see that locator O-ring makes it so that you can center the gasket perfectly.
So working with Jason has been a trip. The guy's like a wizard. He kind of knows everything. As we're talking, he's rattling off specs and knows exactly what the tolerances are. But to watch the way that he tears down a motor, so it's not how I thought it'd be. I thought you tear down a motorcycle, you just do what I did. I just take everything off, try to document it. But when it comes to the motor, Jason does a little bit differently. He starts on one end, works his way all the way through, but he's documenting the whole thing. He kept referring to as reading the story. So he was reading the story and the history of this motor. As we looked at it, we would take something off, assess it, look at it, judge, make a decision if it's got to be replaced or just reuse it. But we worked in a systematic way to actually follow the process along trying to get insight on this bike, not knowing exactly what it was like beforehand, but getting that inner picture of what it's like now and make a decision where it's got to go.
What we really want to look at is we want to look at our heat band when we take this off and we look and see this job right here, where how the valve was contacting the head, you know, and there's all kinds of stuff. We could blow air through it. From here, we could, you know, when we look at the wear pattern, we can lap them and see what the heat band is here. So, no, not bad at all. We're off to,
That's exciting.
We're off to a gleaming start, actually. I'm pretty excited about this. It doesn't really look that bad. You still got a nice crosshatch right there.
Yep.
Okay, that tells me that somebody broke this motor incorrectly. You got a little bit of scarring on your thrust face.
That's the thing, you can tell an 88 motor just by the hatching in there. Like, yep, it wasn't broken in right.
Fin. There you go.
That's birdie.
There you go. Yeah, that's it. Pushes against the cam, yep. And there comes the road. Now we're into her heart. Pull your camshaft out. Let's see. Run your finger in here. Oh, what do I got there? What's that? Is that a rock? Actually, this looks like a piece of debris.
So how about piston heads like this? When you look at that,
Carbon builder.
normal, nothing to,
This is what you want to look at.
because that's where the friction is
Look at
sliding
that.
up.
Look at that thrust face. It's not bad. Tight, yep.
Should be able to back this guy out, right?
How's your charging system on this motor? The seal always goes towards the oil.
Exactly what I didn't want him to see. I left the part of gunk and gasket on there.
Done that. Yeah, there's wire brushes over there.
Oh yeah, I know.
Make that a lot
Yeah, I
easier.
know.
See that oil passage?
Yep.
You got to make sure that the opening of the spacer there that goes in this groove goes inside that oil passage.
That would make sense. If
So-
not, you've got no oil passage.
You ain't got no oil hitting it. So now we got to get that out of there.
Why do I think that's going to be a beast?
So this little specialty tool right here,
So you clamped onto it.
I clamped onto it. It still doesn't make it easy.
It looks like you're going to be taking it off like you do a normal pinch in between.
There's nothing normal about this. There we go. Oh, we had it. Now we got to reset it. You broke it.
I'm good at that.
2, 3.
You bugger.
See, I don't like prying stuff in there because we don't want to score that surface. Oh. Yep, there it is. A little bit of squeeze. Yep.
Hey, see, that was a problem. You weren't holding up your end.
Is that what it was? Sorry, boss.
Clean.
Clean
Now I
that.
can go wash it.
I got a list. Rocker arms and shafts. This is, a lot of the stuff is from fueling and then everything else that we absolutely would need to get it done.
Okay.
So I'll put together this as a parts list, email it to you. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea for you to call Luke, introduce yourself.
Yep.
Then I'll email him and you the parts list from fueling and then drag part numbers for the rest.
Yep.
and then you can
Get it handled.
from Dennis Kurt. So we didn't throw anything away, of course. I did a shit you don't need. But I don't throw anything away till the job is done. We're not going to reuse the oil pump or anything like that, but I just save it just in case. Let's call Rodney.
We need to get some help, and he's made some connections with me, some other guys out there in the industry that are putting together phenomenal parts that are gonna hopefully help us out. We've got a strict, hard game plan on this bike, on the motor at least, so we're gonna get the motor going, powder coated, all the parts will come back. I'm actually gonna come right back here to Deadwood Custom Cycles to put it back together, because let's be honest, if he sent it to me, it would be a box of parts and I wouldn't know what to do. So there's gonna be more to come here from Deadwood Custom Cycles as the parts come back. We'll put this motor back together. I'll throw it then on the stand, take it back to the barn at Jackwagon Ranch and get this bike on the road.
Bubba, what's going on, buddy?
Not much, buddy. How are you?
Good. I'm sitting here with this handsome devil.
How's it going?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Good, man.
You remember Lionel, right, from Law Tigers?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we officially got his Evolution motor torn down. Flywheels are boxed up. I contacted your lovely wife for a ticket, and we're sending you the heads, flywheels, and we're going to use one of your 85-inch big bore kits. I did consider sending you the cases just so we didn't have a mismatch of, there's more than one wrinkle black. So the heads, cylinders, and cases are all the same wrinkle black.
I mean, I just think it's better if we just powder coat everything.
Okay.
That way it matches.
So the motor's tore down and we've done all we can do so far. A bunch of the parts are packed up right here, sending them off, gonna get some work done to those, leaving the rest of the boys here, and I'm gonna have to come back to Deadwood to finish this motor. So when the parts come back, I'm gonna come back and we're gonna finish it up. So Jason, don't mess up my motor.